gate that play usually, but sometimes if you're just you could just be telegraphing like I've got all these lands. Probably not now that he played a Wasteland as his second land.
So we see Stoneforge Mystic, and we're gonna see a Daze floating in blue. Daze is gonna counter the Stoneforge Mystic, and we're gonna see Delver just get in here 2 turns in a row now.
Yeah, and that's like I played Death and Taxes a bit, and it's just so obnoxious to lose to a Delver, like because there's so little you can do. You have so little meaningful interaction with the Delver that doesn't like that. It takes so long for you to get GTA Online and start attacking with Batterskull. Like you only have 4 Swords to Plowshares. If you don't have one in your hand, if it gets countered, it's really obnoxious.
So we do see. The Stoneforge is probably going to stick, seeing that Andrew brainstormed. There is a chance that it will meet a Force of Will. But Andrew is stuck on 1 land, so this is actually not a terrible position for Kris, but he does need to be able to answer the Delver soon, or have some way to recoup his life.
And he did fetch a basic in his 3-color deck, so could be getting punished.
There's actually 2 of them.
Okay. Getting punished a little bit, but as you can see, Kris has a Wasteland in play anyway, so fetching the basic might, I mean, he's still in the game. So
yeah, definitely still in the game. We do see a Force meet the Stoneforge Mystic, so Andrew will go down to 18. 1 land in play, but a Delver getting in here for its 3rd swing, putting Kris down to 10.
That is 1 mana, 9 damage is what that Delver basically meant. Potentially more.
And this is kind of where you see the power of Delver, especially against the fair decks that can't interact with it too well, the ones that aren't playing counterspells.
Yeah.
Is that Delver will realistically probably get in there for
9 or 12.
Yeah, 6 to 12 damage easily for 1 mana.
Yeah, super obnoxious to play against for decks lacking in a lot of removal, which most Legacy decks do not play a ton of. What is that? Is that a Bremos? No, he doesn't play Bremos.
Thalia.
Okay, that card's mildly decent against Delver, but will probably be very effective this game because Andrew has so few lands.
So that's a smart play from Kris, waiting for the Thalia to resolve before fetching so that he can't get stifled, and then playing a Mother of Runes off the Tundra.
Yeah, he definitely knows what he's playing around in this one. And now he's fairly free to fetch non-basic lands because if Andrew gets a Wasteland, it's likely he'll need that land for mana and not just a Wasteland Kris.
Correct. So we'll see a fetch come down from Andrew's side, which will get a Tundra. So any other land that Andrew can get is going to be Wastelandable. So this seems okay for Kris, but Kris is again at 6, so 2-turn clock represented on the board.
Okay, so Sard on the Mother of Runes, I'm going to guess, because that card blanks all future removal. Kris maybe prematurely doing that Wasteland. He doesn't have to play. If he's playing around Stifle, he can't cast it, and he should probably have seen the card he was going to draw before he did that, but that's okay.
If he had seen the Venser Shaper Savant off the top there.
Yeah.
However, he did have the other lands.
Yeah, so it's fine. It's not a big deal. Either way, would not have been a big deal. Just usually, you would want to wait till you get maximum information.
We see a second Delver come down, which will be for sure lethal if we do see a flip from that, because I don't think he can draw 2 removal spells here.
Attacking. Definitely has another creature to play. Just he kind of has to hope that this Delver doesn't flip. Or maybe
he might not have anything here.
He probably just doesn't have anything.
Probably not a flip from a Delver, so it looks like he's safe from the from the second Delver, but this first Delver might still be lethal here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right on that line there. Okay, so I need 6
What is that?
Looks like a Venser Shaper Spawn.
That's a V-Click. That's the promo V-Click.
Oh, promo V-Click is what it is.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. I might have just left back the Thalia. I don't know. You need to attack to win the game if you're Kris, but I think you can wait another turn just in case the Delver doesn't flip.
What was that?
Was that a peener? Was that a pee-pee? Oh. Hey,
Didn't see it.
I got something for you.
You can't see me on camera.
Just show that. I'm just gonna show it to Kris.
So we do see a block on the Vendilion Click there. From the Vendilion Click on the Delver of Secrets, and Kris is gonna go to 2.
Like a Furwer, Swiftfoot or whatever, so they can go into effectively 7.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so here. Here. 5. There.
So in the think tank for Andrew here, but it looks like he's gonna choose not to fetch just to play around the Wastelands
Yeah.
until he actually needs the mana.
Thalia not doing nothing this game.
Not doing nothing exactly. So Kris probably contemplating here whether or not to swing with Thalia. He's actually on a slower clock than an unflipped Delver. So he might actually have to keep it back for the purposes of...
This Wasteland is curious.
So he Wastelands here. Maybe having another Wasteland in hand.
Possibly. That still
To
seems...
keep him off his mana. Or to shuffle. Yeah, I'm not
Oh,
entirely
did Andrew manipulate his library
I don't
last
think
turn?
I don't think he did, actually.
Okay. Well, if he did, then this play does make sense, and I would be inclined to agree with it, but I'm not sure that he did, so... Not sure what he's trying to induce.
Alright, so.
Meddling Mage.
So you see a Meddling Mage come down from Kris King.
Yeah, Kris has just seen Andrew's hand, so that Meddling Mage will be ripe with knowledge.
So there are kind of a lot of sweet synergies in this Blue and Taxes deck.
Yeah.
The Meddling Mage with Vendilion Click, as well as Spirit of the Labyrinth with Vendilion Click.
Yeah, the game... One of the primary functions of the deck is trying to establish Mother of Runes in play with a Spirit of the Labyrinth, Vendilion Click with a Violin 3, and a Cavern of Souls to repeatedly bounce your Vendilion Click, and draw step, activate Violin 3, and put in a Vendilion Click, and make it so they never have another relevant draw step, and removal won't work because Mother of Runes will be active. So that's kind of one of the things the deck tries to do. It's a little idealistic and happens less often, but it is definitely something that is in the deck. It's there.
It's kind of like
there.
the Mangara Caracas combo that you saw
Yeah,
in the old Death
exactly.
and Taxes list before True Name was printed, where they would activate Mangara and then Caracas it back to their hand and be able to exile a permanent for free. Really only useful when you actually had a Vial in play.
Yeah,
so you can do
seriously.
it every turn.
And play around sorcery speed removal such as Mizium Mortars. Pillar of Flame and stuff like that. Kris left with 1 card in hand at 2 life. Very uncomfortable. What?
So we see a face coming on Andrew's side. I think that was
Stylizing our boards.
really straightening it up there.
There's not one here on Saturday? Are you sure it's War Machine and not Warhammer? Oh, for the head.
Andrew going to write a note, perhaps to all of you viewers.
Okay. Actually, Garrett, I know someone who knows a little bit more about what they do.
Hello. Something I can help you out with?
Non-charge? They're 15.
Kris King here, just fetching because his fetch lands provide no value. They're just color fixing. He doesn't play Brainstorm or anything like that, so it's just getting a land out of saying, okay, and he actually has a play. So that all fits. It all makes sense.
It does. It's Aaron back again. Glenn took a quick moment off of the stream.
Poopy.
Oh, I don't think that, but
Well,
and
Into the front of the store, we hope not.
oh, there's a trusty volcanic island.
yeah, they are very trusty. They were very trusty when they went from $100 to $350 too. For always trusty. You can always rely on that guy to have your back, no matter who you are.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how some of these legacy lands have really skyrocketed in price.
Because they specifically forfeit their action.
Yeah, no one even plays Legacy.
And I'm telling you, based on
Here at Dark Tower, we have a pretty good turnout every Thursday. It tends to be about 15 to 20 people.
Yeah, it's pretty good for a college town's Magic scene to have 15 to 20 Legacy players. I mean, and no scrubs. No, we don't allow scrubs in here, so...
Yeah, like, you know, the old TLC song, No Scrubs. Scrubs, we don't want no scrubs.
Yeah, that song is actually playing right now.
It's been playing in my head all day. And here I am seeing another volcanic island, and there are definitely no scrubs. I mean, what do you got on that?
No scrub lands.
But you see, it's funny,
No
he's got the
scrub
white
lands.
border island to go with the white border dual lands.
Yeah, I actually am a fan of that. White bordered lands makes it easy to fetch for, mechanically speaking.
Absolutely. And Grim Lavamancer shooting something
Grim
here.
Monolith. Grim Monolith adding
The
3 to
Grim
his mana pool.
Lavamancer. Yeah.
Also taking out a Spirit of the Labyrinth. That card is a good magical card, supposedly.
That's the loneliest number right there.
Yep, and this guy on him,
Do you know what that meddling mage is naming?
nothing. Because he's awesome.
Chris takes a draw
I
here.
was in transition when he played it.
Okay, yeah, that meddling mage was an informed mage. He had Vendilion clicked him the turn prior.
We're gonna have somebody go and check it out, see what it is.
We just want to know.
We always want
We
to
feel
know.
like we need to know for your guys' best interest.
Okay, so Meddling Mage was naming Days, which Andrew had revealed.
Yeah,
So we knew
off
that
that
card was
Vendilion
there.
click.
So you
So,
would have some great value.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Just because it only works in the beginning of the game.
Yeah, Days becoming so much weaker as you've played your 7th land of the game.
You almost
Just-
have to just call something cold.
Yeah, the removal. You've already seen Bolt and Swords, assumedly.
Yeah.
So you could name either of
I mean,
those.
we know there's swords since he played swords in response to the mage.
Yes.
Speaking of the devil, here comes the swords.
You can't talk about the devil.
Right. He's right there. There he
devil
goes.
right now is that
Delver of
Lavamancer.
Seekers.
Delver of
Longmancer.
Seekers.
Delver of
Seacrest.
Seacrest, right. He's on
Delver
American
of
Idol.
Seacrest. So Andrew here, doing some misplay of a sort.
Hands on head. He's thinking about his options here.
Realized that he forgot to eat dinner
I
before
think
the
the
game.
Grim Lavamancer forgot to eat some dinner. I think that's what he's looking
Ooh,
at.
yeah, Grim Lavamancer.
Did he miss it on this turn or something?
I believe it was sick, but we've had so much banter, it's hard to tell.
That is true.
Okay, so there's a jeté that he has so graciously revealed to all of us and Kris. Not is that a Thalia in play? If it is, that is not
Hampers the
going-
plans of the Jitte. The Jitte to the Equipe to the Attaque.
to the concede.
Oh, my goodness.
Conceding. I'm going to assume that that was a victory for Andrew because he had a Lava Mancer in play and Kris is at 4 life last we know. But I'm
Yep, I can do that too. So I'm gonna cut myself. So I can re-roll that.
24. Isn't that what's special about that
Andrew
date?
scooped.
Andrew scooped?
Andrew scooped.
To what, I might ask?
Did not.
Just ask him. What the hecky?
Oh, here we go back to the boards. I think we're going into game 3, but
We
we'll
are.
figure out here.
Or no, we're going into 2. That was
So Kris,
often these creature decks.
He was down on board and couldn't cast GT, and that was game 1.
He was dead on board.
so we got Kris the Killer King, who's been on our stream many times.
Yeah, not a legacy player, but a good Magic player in general. So able to pick up the deck and do well with it. Not surprised.
Yeah, he's a new and upcoming player here at Dark Tower. I've seen him out here a lot.
Yes, great guy, super nice.
Who looks
Also
like he's
very tall.
very tall.
very
Looks like
tall.
he's doing some work here with his sideboard.
Ooh, he's
Oh,
doing
oh.
the Reed Duke. They'll shuffle the whole special in and pull 15 out. Okay.
All right.
Or maybe we're going 75Zs. I don't know.
Right,
what we're
with the
doing.
new Magic rule, you don't have to do 1 for 1, right?
You do not have to do 1 for 1.
That's kind of an interesting thing.
When did that happen?
That was about a year ago.
Yeah,
or
with
so?
the M14.
Okay.
They decided that, yeah, you could do it. You could have any number of cards in your sideboard between 0 and 15.
Meanwhile, Andrew's being a little more methodical here. And
Yeah,
just
no
making
secrets.
Piles.
Clear 4 he wants in, clear 4 he wants out. Nothing wrong with that. The larger the tournament, the more inclined I am to be secretive. But you're gaining relatively little advantage because you're sideboarding face down. You know, we don't know the cards coming in, we don't know the cards coming out. It provides a little advantage. I would only not do it if there were time concerns. You know.
Going back to Kris just shuffling it all together, I actually kind of like it as a new player, relatively speaking to the format, having not picked up the deck before. This allows him to just go through his 75 and pull out his 15 worst cards.
Oh, that's true as well.
So,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's
I mean,
that's definitely something. Yeah. Oh yeah, like if you don't have the matchup down, you know, you don't go into a matchup knowing how you're going to sideboard. Yeah, I see exactly.
Exactly.
And you get to
So
see all the combinations. You get to see the
Yeah.
cards, all
Yeah.
together, and you can
You-
see things that you can't see.
You get to see the
And yeah, I guess I agree also just in general doing that every time because you don't want to be controlled by your habits. You don't want to say, well, I have done this in the past, so I'm going to do it again. You should be more analytical at each individual match, like what's really working and what's not.
you have to assess each sideboard you play like as it comes. Like, is it a correct play, or if you're unsure about it at all, like you have to be happy to change it.
Yeah, what have you seen? What do you assume? What is safe to assume? You know, he's playing red, white, blue Delver. It's fairly safe to assume lightning bolts towards the plowshares, stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So you
absolutely. With the Stone Forges, you know that the equipment package is going to be there.
Yep.
So the damage on that is top 4.
Haven't seen everything in the list. Obviously, he has Jitty and Jitay and the Batter Skull. Is he running any swords?
I'm not sure. Delver usually doesn't have to. They can. They definitely can, and I've seen them. Mostly Sword of Feast and Famine.
No way. Yeah, just for the sheer value of untapping all your lands.
Yeah, and
With the amount of spells.
you really don't need protection from True Name Nemesis because you play your own.
Yep.
So you don't need the evasiveness that sword usually provides for non-True Name decks to get through True Name. So you're just not forced to. You can just play the normal Batter Skull GTA, throw it on your True Name, call it a day like that.
Yeah,
That being said, Sword of Fire and Ice is a very good card, and I understand why a lot of people play it in their sideboard anyway, even though it could probably just be better as something else.
It's just so powerful against so many
Yeah.
decks. Like, blue is everywhere, and
Yeah.
like it just gets
When
through
is
True
drawing a
Names.
card and shocking ever like
Exactly.
bad? You know,
Exactly. Like,
just it's a generically good sword.
kill a
that just,
Lavamancer, kill a Delver.
yeah, it speeds up your
whatever.
clock against combo. It draws you cards against anyone. Like
Yep.
it's just does it all. Kills dudes.
It's
Yeah.
everything. we
Kris
want
though, I
ever.
know his deck. In his deck, there are the Sword of Fire and Ice, the GTA, and the Batter Skull, all main deck.
Yep.
Andrew Accornero doing his ritualistic
Nobody
thing.
knows.
But yeah, Chris's deck
Deconstruction.
loaded with equipment because his deck is so dense with creature threats. I mean, if you've
There's just so much value.
yeah, if you're familiar with the legacy deck, Death and Taxes, it's just like that deck, just Aether Vial, swords, equipment, and just dudes.
Yeah, I like the differences in it. It's a little bit less taxy because it doesn't play ports, for example.
Yeah, it does not.
But we see cards like Vincer and Brainstorm and Vendilion Click
Yeah.
being added
Well,
to the mix.
he doesn't actually play Brainstorm.
No storms?
No, which
Okay,
is funny.
okay.
Well, I understand it. Like, normally you just want to throw Brainstorm in all your blue
Sure,
decks.
sure,
But
right.
when you're brainstorming into 1/1s, 2/1s, and 1/2s,
Yeah,
it's a little
true.
less.
And
Yeah.
in this deck, there's just better uses for the mana, honestly. Like, flash or
Yeah, I think
using,
that's the
activating
biggest reason.
Stoneforge, bouncing a Batter Skull.
Yeah.
Just multiple equips, whatever.
Yeah, the
whatever it
Vincer
may
and
be.
the Vendilion Click provide a very cool effect in the deck.
I just saw Andrew's 7. It looks like one he's really thinking about. It only has one land in it. He's probably not going to keep it.
Chris's keep just looks very obvious. It is a
Yeah.
very good hand against Delver. 2 Swords to Plowshares is exactly what you want.
Yeah, they're so
You
light
can-
on threats.
You can definitely expect. Yeah, exactly. They the popular creature decks only play like between 10 and 12 creatures. So if you can remove one of them, then it's just great. You're just in good shape.
Especially when any number of them is True Name Nemesis that you just can't interact with anyways. So you're just like,
Yeah, yeah. Chris has answers to True Name. He can Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb is one answer. He can bounce it on the stack with Venser, and he can target his own True Name with the Detention Sphere and get Andrews.
that's an interesting.
a nice
one.
little
I
2 for
haven't
1.
seen that before. It's so painful, but so, like depending on the situation,
Yeah,
you
I've
just have to
thought
sometimes.
about it, and one game I thought about doing it when I was playing the Blue and Taxes deck. I considered doing that, but I just scooped that game because I was probably going to lose anyway.
Is-
And I didn't
is
want to
that-
show him that I had the Tension Sphere.
It's that moment where you're like, man, I could just make this ingenious play that guy is totally not expecting.
I know, but like, was that really good?
but, yeah,
Is that
like-
actually good? Probably not.
I mean, anytime you have to be getting rid
Yeah.
of your own true name, it's probably an awkward situation. Let's be honest.
Uh-huh.
But if it's in that spot, well, plays there.
Yeah. Vile, 1 turn late to the party. That card is insane against Delver. Not being able to have your threats countered is all you can ask for in the matchup.
Yep.
Really. If you just play all of your things, you're probably favored if they all resolve. I mean, Stoneforge, most importantly, that card is so vital to the creature matchup.
And Delver's, it's got a lot, but it's only got so much removal, and the value that you can get, like any creature staying on the board once a Stoneforge resolves and picks up an equipment, is just a huge threat of its own.
Yeah.
Then he has 6 wins left, so there's 6 wins. So that would be her. She has 10 wins left. She has
We're totally not paying attention to life, though.
So,
So, cannot tell what is in Andrew's graveyard due to the glare on the cards.
I believe it's a Brainstorm and
there's one
another
Brainstorm.
Daze.
Maybe
Yeah,
a
that
Force
is a
of
Daze.
Will.
No, it's definitely a Daze. That got
There's
swords.
days. Okay, that was from the swords.
Yeah, I thought when I saw that Delver in the Exiles, and I thought something was getting Force of Will. His Aether Vial probably, but then I noticed the swords and Chris. So, Chris played a Spirit of the Labyrinth that got dazed. Okay, this is all making so much sense.
I'm gonna go check what life is at.
All right, go ahead.
Chris is at 14. Andrew is still at 20.
Okay, that's about how I expect the life totals to go.
Yep.
Yeah, if Chris wins, he's more of the control deck in the matchup. I mean, Andrew's playing a very high density of counter spells, but that does not necessarily
Right.
make him the
Just hit up mainstream.
yeah. That does not make him the control deck. Definitely, Chris is the one that wants to he has the inevitability in the
Yeah.
matchup.
Andrew has to force the issue, as it were.
Yeah,
Just make things happen.
Kris just playing more threats and true name and equipment beats Andrew's very little threats and true name and equipment, I would
Yeah,
think.
absolutely.
Well,
It's not terrible.
Let's see. 9,001.
Go get that basic. That basic that probably shouldn't be in the deck, but is anyway, because
Because
Basics.
one dual land short.
have you ever been path exiled, dude?
Many, many times, unfortunately. Although I can say not once in this particular format.
Yeah, there was at one point where I played one path in my Miracle sideboard, but it was only for events such as this. Low turnout, you can expect not to play against combo decks, so you're just going to want to load up on stuff for the fair deck matchups, and
Yep.
it's just a generically good card. I mean, exiling something and giving them a land is not such a big deal, because
it
most
really
of the
isn't.
legacy decks don't play basics in the first place.
all right.
And the ones, actually, several of the ones that do, it's not even relevant against, like Miracles, just
Yeah.
doesn't care. So it's just
Yeah.
a dead card anyways, it's never going to come in.
The one matchup where it was tricky was I mostly wanted it against Death and Taxes, but giving them another land makes them able to Risht import you easier.
Yep.
So,
that's super
which
awkward.
is not good against Miracles, but the earlier in the game, the better it is against
Yeah,
the deck.
it's,
I mean,
it's still effective early on just to slow them from getting started.
yeah.
It was just a stifle on the trigger,
Wait,
on the stone blade.
oh yes, Stifle on the Stoneblade
Oh.
Mystic trigger.
That's
The Stone Blade Mystic.
Yeah, that is definitely a legitimate usage of Stifle.
Oh, absolutely.
The equipment in this matchup is everything. Like your whole game plan is going to involve you getting some piece of equipment on some creature and them not being able to answer it, or gaining so much advantage that all their work has been undone and they're starting with a handful of cards and you have nothing.
And against Delver especially, it almost doesn't matter what the equipment is.
Oh yeah.
Like
Really
like
doesn't.
you can get Batter Skull and they're just like, okay, I'm I'm a burn deck. Like I'm a burn deck with a couple of basic creatures.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
gaining 4 life a turn is just huge, especially because you can block. Like I
Yeah,
mean,
there's-
realistically you're not going to block because the creatures are Delver flipped and True Name, but
There's
We're
usually
throwing
contextually there's like a best equipment to grab.
yeah,
But
of course.
all of the equipments in your deck, or at least in Chris's deck, are very good against the Delver deck. Because like if he's got True Name just chilling back on D, then Batterskull is not going to be very good because
Right.
then you're at a standstill, no one's attacking. Because you can't and they can't because you'll just gain too much life. GTO is good because it picks off their threats and gains life. It's just very versatile. Pumps your dudes in response to Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
Very good. And then Sword of
super
Fire
scary,
and Ice.
super scary on a True Name as
Yeah,
well.
Sword of Fire and Ice, definitely the one to get when you're trying to actually win the game because then you need to get past the True Name blocker.
Yep.
And it's just a quick clock. Usually if you can connect with that twice and you go to the dome with the trigger, that's usually
Yeah,
you
if,
just
if
won
you're
that game.
if you're done with the trigger, it's a minimum of 5 damage, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly.
And especially with the cards, like cards are so powerful in this format where extra card a turn is just huge, as well as the super fast clock.
Yeah. Hey. You can see the cards better.
Yeah, we can. That's way better.
Sweet. That is way better.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. So what just happened? He played Stoneforge. Andrew played a Stoneforge of his own.
Yes.
And he did not stifle his own trigger, so the trigger will resolve.
Surprisingly enough. Do not quite see what he got with it.
So this is probably going to go to 3. I mean, Kris doesn't... I'm not sure what his vial is at, but he doesn't have a ton of meaningful interaction with a
I guess I'll
GT at this point. He can't play a Venser.
And he just flipped Delver off the trigger hit, so we're
He's going to have
probably
a flying... Kris could have been dealing click if his vial's on 3 and nab that GT, which is fine, but he
apparently
doesn't.
not. And
Swords here
yeah.
or bust? Okay,
Pretty
no
much.
swords. So now, anything Kris does, if I'm Andrew here, I definitely kill the Stoneforge Mystic right now, because I don't want him to draw an equipment and get to play it for free.
Yeah.
It's such as a batter
Absolutely.
skill, anything really. Okay, well he already has one in his hand, so that wouldn't have not have worked. Sort of fire and ice. I still kill the Stoneforge here.
Well, he can't even kill.
Now you don't. Now you kill whatever he. I wasn't sure what his vial was on. If it was on
Yeah.
3 or 4, I would kill the Stoneforge, but now you just kill to whatever he equips. And,
Yeah. Should be pretty easy sailing. Like,
Yeah,
barring
GT counters
anything
lead to more
surprising.
GT counters, which is an unfortunate vicious cycle for creature decks trying to play against it.
It's a giant downward spiral no matter
Yeah.
what you do. Like it doesn't matter. As a mud player, like I'm playing 6/6s all the time, and you just look at this thing as like it has 2 counters on it already. It's too late. Like I needed this creature a turn ago.
Yeah, it's just like I can't do anything. Like, well, that was a good game.
Sometimes Wizards print spare cards.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just
Oh
want to
man. The funny
give us
thing
something
is,
to cry about.
the funny thing is, I have seen that card passed in a draft. I don't understand.
I heard
how.
it was the best limited card
Ever.
of Magic's history.
Yes. I mean, I know you don't play a whole lot of limited, but have you ever played limited?
Oh yeah.
How do you beat that card?
I don't know. I've never drafted it.
You.
I mean, okay,
Here's how you
I've
beat that
cubed
card.
with it.
Here's how you beat that card in regular limited format. You have your deck stacked with artifact removal.
You go back in time
That's
to when the
simple.
legend rules old and draft your own.
So this is a 9/11.
Highly consistent strategy there. I mean, if you're a good enough Magic
draw
player
it.
to do that every time,
You draw yours
by all
first.
means. Yeah, just yeah.
So here, playing out that Vendilion click. Yeah, this red, white, blue Delver deck is
Looks like 13.
with the trigger on the stack. Swords targeting Andrew. He has a true name in his hand. That's not good. No, he does not. This red, white, blue Delver deck, though, it just has so much more inevitability than the other Delver decks because it plays equipment. It can really grind you out. Like, when I was playing Miracles, it was very apparent who was going to win the game by turn, like, 4 usually, and against red, white, blue Delver, that was the only matchup that was like not bad by any means, but it's hard to tell. You know, they could always just
Rip something off the top.
draw a batter skull and you don't have a counter, then you swords it, they return it, play it again. You have to snapcaster swords it. You're just like grinding each other out, and this deck is very equipped to do that as compared to the other Delver decks
Definitely.
that are not equipped at all to do any
No.
sort of grinding
No.
of any nature.
If they don't win, they don't win.
Yeah, like Tarmogoyf is okay, but it's usually just like the bum rush of early dudes that like gets there. Like their Tarmogoyfs are only like 4 or 5s, but it's just only a 4 or 5 for 2.
yeah, right. Is that it?
And a whole bunch of units. I have no way of coming back from that now.
I like the Rug Delver list that played Tarfire just to make Tarmogoyf
Just for the
just
tribal.
giant, yeah, just for tribal.
Activate the stones because I need to get them out of the way a little bit.
That's I mean, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, dude.
There.
I mean, in the worst case scenario, I guess it's a 1-mana removal spell, and
Yeah, I mean, it's a shock.
There's a million of targets for it.
Shock is
right?
fine. I mean, Forked Bolt is definitely a better card, but
Yeah,
I still like Tribal. Tribal.
because why not?
Because why not?
I watched that mechanic make a person quit playing Magic. He attempted to cast a nameless inversion on a Tarmogoyf, and it turned out that he just pumped it to take more damage.
Oh yeah.
And-
Ouch.
And that man said he was going to quit playing Magic because of Tarmogoyf, and he actually did.
Okay, here is cool because Kris has his Vial on 4 and a Crocus and a Venser. So let's see what he can do with that. I think there's only 2 counters on Vitae.
Watch pit.
2 is enough, though.
And he'll,
Yeah, 2 is enough to kill it in response to returning it, but he can't initiate.
This is true. He has to let Kris.
Kris
decide.
has to be the one to initiate if this is going to work.
Weird.
he's knocked down.
Oh, Batter Skull.
Oh god.
Batter Skull, that.
Definitely looking like it's going to go to 3, and there's not very much time in the round. We might give these guys a little bit of an extension. because they had to be on camera. They had to
Yeah.
resituate.
Actually, take one more.
And they're not playing slow or anything. It's just long games. Both players, as I said before, are just kind of grinding at each other right now.
Yeah. Which
The
both
equipment
decks are
advantage.
very equipped to do. They're both able to be grindy.
But how huge is that stifle on the Stoneforge trigger now, especially against
Oh yeah,
two
yeah. Him
equipment?
just not having an equipment. Yeah. That stifle was very good. A card that I just do not think is any good in the deck. In Red, White, Blue Delver, but it definitely did something this game.
I think for Andrew, it's kind of a pet card scenario.
Yeah,
he
definitely.
absolutely loves it. He's not afraid to fire it off on a fetch land.
Yeah, I never give him any crap about that because I just know how much he likes to play with Stifle, and I just hate that card. I just don't. It's not even good.
It doesn't do
It's
anything.
not good. But
It's kind of like what No Rod's flavor text says. It does nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, not even a question. And I'm gonna take all of that.
Well, yeah, it's just.
Oh, Kris equipping here, trying to get him to use those counters on the GT because it's really now or never.
But how important is, like, now that he has the Batter Skull, he's just playing another one.
These guys, they
So,
Okay.
so
okay.
that's how he's gonna use it.
that makes
Okay,
that
well,
makes things
this
happen.
play is something.
No, I kind of like it. He made him not use the GT counters because he was expecting to have the Batter Skull, and then he just
Yeah,
gives up the second one as a removal spell for the Germ.
yeah. I like it. I mean, I don't know how impactful that's going to end up being, but I like it for sure.
Alright, so
Oh,
it needs
God. It's a disenchant.
That's
That's a good one right here.
it's a sword killer,
so it needs 7.
and honestly,
It's the
like,
ugliest disenchant that not even
what set was that
a
even?
mother dog could love.
Is that the Ice Age one?
No, that was the player reward one.
Oh God.
At least I assume so. I think all the full art, like Lightning Helix, not Electrolyze, that was a Champs promo, but I assume all the full out cards are promos. Or player reward. You still playing Standard, Brandon?
I haven't for a little while now. Been working a lot, and I've been kind of brewing on some Jund Control.
Okay.
But I gotta actually actively get it put together. The format is a little bit stale for me. It's just
Yeah, not like. I wish you would have been around to play the Standard last season. All the
God,
decks were
I
so
love-
fun.
I before I started on my last little break from Magic, which just recently ended, the original round block was where I picked up, and everything that I've seen from Return is the same type of thing. It's
Yeah.
the same style of cards.
The
just
cards from
super fun.
Return to
A lot
Ravnica
of variety.
played just beautifully with the Innistrad block. You had
And Innistrad was an
such
amazing
powerful
block.
decks. Yeah. Oh, Innistrad is definitely the best block ever. There are some other sweet ones, like Zendikar is
Like
also really well
Mirage.
designed. Yeah, like Mirage,
Well, old
Lion's Eye
school.
Diamond stuff. Anyway, no, the decks last Standard before Theros were a lot more innovative, and you saw different decks winning tournaments every week for the entire.
See,
I just see like
that's
set after
beautiful.
set, a different deck is like, and you definitely had Boogeyman. You had best decks for sure.
Always. There's always gonna be
There was
something.
always a strategy that was good against that deck. Like right now, just it's impossible to be like insane against mono black.
And
You
you
can be
just-
good, but you can't be insane against them. Like you just can't. It's just too
Azorius-
consistent.
Azorius Control has a really hard time losing there, but
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
that, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it just seems like there's just so little you can do to be innovative today in Standard.
Yeah,
and,
there's like trying to brew, and I just can't. Like, I come up with a
Everything.
list, and I talk to some people, and like 3 other people are like, "Oh, I played this recently, or I'm gonna be playing this next week." But like, well, I guess I was brewing, kind of.
yeah.
Just it's. I really would have liked to have seen more constellation cards. I think that's a really interesting mechanic. It's a ton of fun for EDH, with a couple that are actually relevant and good enough to be played.
Yeah.
But something like that could have really changed up the format, and that would have been nice to see.
Yeah, the only thing I thought of when I thought of Constellation was like perhaps like maybe I didn't look at all the Constellation enchantments, but in like a Zur the Enchanter deck, like I didn't look at any of them, but that's just where my mind went because I like Zur a lot.
Zur's awesome.
Yeah, not broken Zur, just fun value Zur.
Yeah,
Detention Sphere Zur.
Yeah, my Oblivion Ring, Banishing Light now because that's a new one.
Yeah, that kind of Zur, not the.
I'm playing around with a Pillow Fort Bant EDH deck now. That's just propaganda effects. Like Eidolon of Blossoms was the all-star
Okay, there you go.
constellation
Yeah,
card.
yeah. That was easily
Like-
my favorite one. I just.
Yeah, it says draw a card, right?
Yeah, that card is awesome. It's a 2/2.
And it's when they come into play, so
Yeah, it's sweet.
you don't have to cast it. So if you resolve something like Replenish or an Open the Walls with that guy in play, it's
Yeah.
just silly things are happening.
Okay, so back in this little magical universe, we have Kris with it looks to be a comeback. Is that a comeback? He has a Spirit of the Labyrinth in place, so all Andrew's cantrips are shut off. He's apparently got through with this. Andrew has no creatures. That's a Pithing Needle, I'm pretty sure. A Return to Ravnica Pithing Needle.
Yep. He does have
No
a foil
creatures
one
on
in his
board.
sideboard.
The Batterskull does not have a germ attached to it.
Yeah.
Wondering what's going on here. What's happening?
We've apparently sidetracked ourselves highly effectively here, but
Yeah.
that's okay. That's okay.
That's naming a card, and that card is a
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and cut myself.
card,
I'm gonna find it out here.
and it's probably not a mana ability.
No, what am I doing now? Stop that.
What is it? It's naming Crocus. That is very reasonable. Killing that Spirit of the Labyrinth with the counters on his GTA. What are the life totals?
Correct life totals are Andrew at 17 and Kris at 9, according to their dice, which we can't quite make out here.
So a little surprised this game is still going on. I wasn't sure that Kris was going to be able to win it. I was fairly certain we would go to game 3. Now there's just not even enough time in the round for 3, so.
Yeah, it really looked like it would, and he's just clawed his way back in, so now it actually almost seems like it might be difficult for Andrew to even pull off the draw here.
Oh, yeah,
Like-
definitely.
Kris is just kind of... Oh, that's a true name on the board.
Oh, that is a true name.
So,
What do you think his true name nemesis is? Who do you think his true name nemesis
I'm
is?
gonna guess that Andrew was the named target. We have Goku back on the field as a germ, but
But that is no
discussed
match
before.
for the true
True-
name nemesis.
true name holding a sword is
This is just the
terrifying situation.
Yeah, exactly what the Blue and Texas deck wants to do against this deck because it just blanks all removal and any interaction Andrew can have outside of counter spells is ineffective here. Kris keeping up that Wasteland, I don't know what for. If I were him, I would have just fired it off when he returned the Batterskull to his hand so he couldn't recast it.
I think so as well. He's got
Now
two.
looking a little foolish, but it might not matter. I just here it would
It's still the sound play to make.
yeah. I just would have done that sooner. Like, he could have just forgot about it. He, like I said earlier, does not play much Legacy. Great player, just not a Legacy guy.
Exactly.
No.
It's super easy. Like, as someone who's trying to get into the format themselves, like,
Just
I
to-
can vouch. There's times where it's just like,
Obvious stuff on board that
Yeah.
like you could have easily played around.
You
Like
for-
it happens all the time.
you
to
forget
everyone.
that your land destroys land, because what card does that?
Yeah. Since they haven't printed a playable land destruction spell in like 5 years.
Nope. Since, like, Time Spiral, right?
Yeah.
Boom Bust and Avalanche Riders being reprinted. I guess
No.
Fulminator Mage.
Tectonic Edge.
Tech Edge? Yeah, Tech Edge.
Tech Edge
goes
is
for,
good. It has its place in modern.
Fulminator Mage.
Ghost Quarter was
legit.
reprinted. Yeah, Fulminator Mage is definitely legit. That being on a 2/2 is just awesome because just you can get into with it. I mean,
And how sick is it in?
Molten Rain does the same thing,
Yeah.
but less versatile because
But-
it is not on a 2/2.
Well, and how sick is it that in a deck like Living In, you can just use it to hamper? Like in Modern,
yeah.
that deck plays Beast Within and Fulminator Mage, and playing Red, White, Blue Patriot Control.
Yeah, it's really
brutal.
hard to beat
It's
that.
brutal. Like you don't get your triple blue or your single or your double white for verdicts for when they go off.
Yeah, it's pretty obnoxious to try and to fight through that. You just like need every mana leak in your deck.
She boosts what she does.
Enlightened Tutoring. EOT for possibly Ratchet Bomb. You could blow it up on 0 right now, and you
To
won't have a
destroy
turn.
the
Just a
turn.
time walk, yeah.
So she boosts to hit. Knocks you down.
Detention Sphere instead, which
that works.
does
That
work.
works.
It does work.
Like next turn I would have had focus. So I would have had 5.
Yeah, Enlightened Tutor's awesome. That card's very sweet.
No, so good.
And you're knocked down.
1 mana instant speed tutors, right? Nothing but good.
Yeah, oftentimes the card you're tutoring is just very worth the guard disadvantage, so you just don't.
Exactly.
Don't care, you know.
It's like Force of Will.
So there are like definitely 3 legitimate targets on this board. He could go after the needle, which is like, it's okay. Probably wouldn't do that.
No need to.
Andrew's just gonna stifle it anyway. So
Yeah.
Speed to the system.
Man, that card coming through again.
yeah. If I were, I would target the Jite with the Detention Sphere just because.
It's got a healthy number of counters. It looks like
Mostly because it's the most versatile card. You can beat the Batterskull in the race.
Yeah.
Here, so. Oh no, maybe you can't. Not if you're 9 life. Probably can't do that at 9 life.
Delver is not at 17 though.
It's just like scars. Like she can't do that.
It looks like
not
3.
anymore.
It looks like 3 or is that 1?
It could be a 5.
That's 1. That's 1 because that's 2/3 and he's using a spin down. So it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Delver player is at 1 life.
Okay, so he's got to
He's gonna have
act
to
fast, and Kris is apparently at 5. All right, hey, spin downs, awesome.
right
Those things are sick.
tech.
That is tech.
That makes our life much easier in trying to maintain the stream
It
state.
makes me have to squint less. Sweet.
Yeah.
It's even making my hair fall out, which is awesome.
It's that time of the season. It's getting warm.
Oh, so I'm shedding. That's what's
I
happening.
wasn't gonna go there. I wasn't gonna go there, but since you mentioned it, I mean, it is what it is.
So something is happening.
Hey, at least you still have the
It's
ability
something.
to shed, right? I mean, I'm not gonna be negative here.
You can shed on the sides of your head, just not on the top anymore.
Kind
you
of,
already
kind
did
of.
the mass shedding.
right.
All the shedding you'll ever need.
Evacuation has been cast.
I heard the hair just moves to your back. It just goes off the top of your head straight to your back. Is that true?
I do not have a particularly hairy
Okay.
back. Definitely not in proportion to what I've lost.
Alright.
So it looks like
Is that
Andrew
a
gained
Jite?
a life.
Oh,
Is
wow,
it
that's a
2?
good draw.
This guy hits.
Oh, Jite on the true name.
Boost this.
Hey.
Got
That
one
is
for
my
each
only
hand.
complaint about Legacy is True Name Nemesis. And I'm playing a deck that does not give a care at all about that card.
Which is a great feeling.
Yeah, which really is. I just hate what True Name has done to Legacy, and its impact has not been as big as it could have been.
Which is good.
Which is good, but
Thankfully.
I don't like what it did to Legacy. It's just like, you want to attack, play True Name. You playing True Name, play the
Yeah.
Stoneforge.
Yeah.
All right, you got a deck.
Exactly. It's almost like an easy button.
Yeah, there's
that shouldn't exist.
very many ways to beat True Name. I don't think the card is oppressive. I think it's unfun to play against. Like,
Agreed.
there
You
are
can't interact.
tons of answers to True Name, and it's a fine card in terms of power level. It's just its particular effect is very annoying very cumbersome to play against because you just can't do anything. You're just dejected.
There's no interaction whatsoever. It's like
It's not fun.
Just so you guys know, they're on turn 0 right now.
They're on turn 0 right now, just so you guys know.
Yep. As long as they're not engaged.
Well, because he's
He could walk out versus he's in that dude's back arc.
yeah, that's cool. Oh, he's not saying no.
we go to 9.
We're gonna activate. He is going to walk out.
Oh, maybe.
Okay. I'll go check just to make sure.
That was one of the greatest things.
And now they're gonna start shooting because they're all gonna see.
Yes.
So he's aiming.
So he's at 9 now.
GD counters.
Yeah, apparently he had more of those than I thought he did.
13. I'm gonna try and cut tree roll. Yeah.
And what was Chris's life total? 5 still? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So he's gonna go ahead and.
Yeah, true name. Just a fun card to lose to.
That's still about 13.
It's a really fun card to beat, though. It feels
No.
really good to beat that card.
Absolutely. So now I believe it was on Andrew's turn for turn 0.
Yeah.
So we'll be on turn 1 here for Chris.
No, it isn't.
So this guy's gonna shoot. You're bringing return. That'll hit.
And yeah, those life totals are correct, so now we can actually analyze this. That is a germ token that is suited up with that Batter Skull and Jite. And then he has a Delver on board and a Stoneforge Mystic and a Pithing Needle naming Caracas.
Yes. The Crocus, the Pithing Needle's not really even important right now.
Oh, no. I mean, obviously that
on
was
what's
more
in
relevant
Chris's
when Chris had the Venser. But he ended up just jump blocking with Venser a couple turns ago. Or maybe that was last turn out, and the turns have been kind of drawn out at this point. But, yeah, that was, I don't know how much I like that name with the Pithing Needle, because the Venser Crocus thing isn't particularly good against decks that's threats cost 1, 2, and 3. It's mostly, that's a hard lock against Jace decks, not so much against red, white, blue Delver. It is annoying. It's definitely good, but I don't know if
you can just recast your spell.
Yeah, if you just name Sword of Fire and Ice with the Needle, if he ever bounces his Venser, he has to. Well, no, I guess that's true. You could just replay the bounce the Pithing Needle and then attack again. But then that's not really accomplishing anything.
No.
So I guess you just name Crocus, but I don't know. I don't think that was particularly effective.
It just feels so awkward to have that be the named card right
Well,
now.
yeah, I don't think that was worth a card.
No, especially since he had answers.
Yeah, I think.
Really? Because I feel
You think you're definitely going to kill me?
Looks like Chris may be
Oh, no, that's yeah.
moving his equip,
Yeah,
putting the Sophie onto the Stoneforge Mystic here.
all right.
So tell me a little bit about Modern, Brandon. What's Modern like?
Oh God, modern's a beautiful thing.
Is it beautiful?
It's like Legacy without.
Whoa.
With
You're stepping on toes
without
here.
I know where I'm going, but bear with me here. It's like Legacy without being pinholed by the super powerful cards into playing them. Like the discussion we had about Brainstorm, like whether it was in the not being in the blue and taxes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's got so much more size, so much more variance to it than the standard field does. There's plenty of room for brewing, and you just there's a lot less cards that you just can't look at because they're not 3 mana or less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Legacy, oh, that card's a 4-drop. Is it a Jace?
Then
No, well,
get it out of the sideboard.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know, okay, that makes
Exactly.
sense. You're selling me on Modern.
So you have a lot more room to play. The decks obviously aren't quite as powerful.
They are
but
not.
They're definitely not slacking either. There's cool interactions, there's combo, there's aggro, there's control, like anything you want to find. Like You can play artifact combo in the format.
Yeah, you can.
Like
There's a
Card
lot of
Clan
things you
Iron
can
works.
be doing, you know, and you see
they can
people
beat
do that.
things.
Like, you'll see famous people, good magicians. Okay, something happened here. Something happened. Something relevant happened. What happened, Brandon?
We couldn't really tell.
Do we have a winner?
We're gonna find out.
We might have a winner. We might also have a draw or 2 drawees. But I'm sure one of them would concede to the other one.
Yep. Okay. So what happened right here was Andrew got his lethal through, and obviously we're out of time in the round, so they're going to be drawing here, unfortunately.
Well, that's 202. Andrew Accornero ends the night at 202.
That's
A little bit of a
Man.
depressing
that's
record because you don't
this just hurts.
actually get paid here at
Nope.
202. So,
That's painful. Just not quite getting there.
yeah, unfortunately for him.
It's really surprising that he's going to time twice because he's not playing a slow deck.
The creature, the Stoneforge versus Stoneforge matchups, like regardless of what they are,
That's true.
tend to be that way. You know, like
I can see that.
they aren't always. That's not always the case. Just a lot of times it tends to be that way. Like I played Death and Taxes a little bit, and like it's against most of the other Stoneforge decks. It's just like it takes a long time to get set up how it needs to be set up to win on both sides of the table.
Yeah, there's just so much dirtling. Like jockeying for position is really what's just happening. Like you said, just setting up creature face-offs in a spell-based format, gentlemen.
Okay, so he hits the guy.
And then ends up being
Now that was round 4, so that was our final round, correct?
Yeah, that's our last round for tonight. Congrats to Kris King for going 3-0-1 with a deck that is barely more than a pile. That's very cool.
All right, guys, that was the last round. We'll be seeing you tomorrow for FNM. If you want to stay tuned for that, 6 o'clock FNM. We'll start streaming at 7 though. Just going into round 2. So see you then. Thanks for.